Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about intersection controller. So intersection controller actually consists of two parts. You can play around with traffic lights if you like controlling traffic, or you can look at simulated traffic situations where traffic is free to go according to set time traffic lights, or literally just go wherever it wants to go. So you can get this on the Android phone. So basically just go to Google Play Store, type in intersection controller. So it's by ShadowTree, ShadowTree, for making such an awesome app. Unfortunately, the iPhone doesn't seem to have this app. But what you can do is you can play this on the computer. So notice that I've downloaded something called BlueStacks here. And BlueStacks basically is an Android emulator. And what that does, it allows you to play Android apps on the computer. So you can see I've got a mouse that I'm moving around. And it's pretty cool. Check this out if you want. You can download it. I'll put the links in the description below. So anyway, we'll just have a play around with this intersection controller. And so you can see that if we click on the first one, you can look at the pre-made maps such as the suburb, downtown, industrial, or users of this app can make their own traffic scenarios. So I'm just going to click on something that actually looks good. Okay. So basically, in this scenario, you just allow traffic, and you have to make sure the traffic doesn't crash. And so basically, you just need to control the traffic and so on and so forth, and just let things through. Personally, this is not my favorite. I used to like doing this, but personally, I like the simulation. And so once again, there are some pre-made maps, but in today's video, I'm going to be looking at one of the maps that I created myself. And so, I'll scroll down here. So this is actually my map. I created started about 2 years ago actually, and I finalized it a few months after that. But because I made this on an old phone, which I don't have anymore because it decided to break, and and I don't have access to the account anymore. Got a pretty cool comment there. Therefore I can't actually edit this anymore. But I can show you what it looks like. And I'm quite proud of it. Definitely not the best map. If I compare all the other maps, it's definitely not the best looking map, but I like it. So, zooming out, this is the entire map. It's pretty much just a very, very, very loopy. Very loopy. Yeah. So, pretty much all the roads just loop around everywhere. We've got these railway lines literally crossing over everything and anything really. And just in general, it's just one really loopy mess. And I love it. So, I'm going to just show you around the place. So, basically, if I start off here, so the cars basically come in through here, and they are all controlled by this single traffic light. So what that does is that I've got control of how much traffic goes in through the map. And so yes, it does mean that I can't pump as many cars in as possible, but I don't want to because I have such a loopy mess and I want to make sure that the traffic flow actually runs smoothly. In terms of traffic coming in, they can also come in through here. So this is actually pretending like a car park. And I can actually come in through up here. I'm not sure if you can see. There we go. So they can also come in through here. There's a fire truck running through there. So there's 3 entry points. And so that way I can control the traffic that's coming in, and then I just don't cause an entire mess. Because yeah, you can imagine like the amount of nightmare chaos that would be happening if I just let traffic come through everywhere. So once it does get into the city, I'm just going to follow a car along and just see how it goes. So we'll follow this one, and we'll show the environment to follow. And you can see that, right now it's stuck in traffic, but it has to go all the way around through this loopy mess. And then, once it gets to here, it will have to pick a certain point. So let's just zoom in a bit, follow. And so you can see that it's going around. This time it's going to take the left route. And so it's going to do that all the way around. in through a tunnel, under a bridge, through another tunnel, and it's going to go all the way through. Okay, wow. So we got one that broke down. That's okay. That doesn't happen too often, but I've never selected a vehicle where it's actually broken down. But that's cool. I can talk about. Oh, okay. No, it repaired itself. So sometimes when the cars break down, just like that, you might need a tow truck to come along, but apparently they repaired themselves. Okay, this is cool. So we get to keep following around. Okay, so we'll zoom out slightly. So we're gonna, it's gonna stop at a traffic light here. Basically, I've set this up. One of the neat things I've done is I've made sure that the intersections are never blocked. So you can see that this guy always waits behind this line here, which you think it kind of makes sense, right? Like, why would you not wait behind the traffic light? But when some people, they don't set this up correctly, they end up having traffic that blocks an intersection, and that just causes a huge nightmare. It just completely gridlocks the entire city. And with the gridlock city, you just, like that to me is the worst kind of map. So aesthetically, this may not be like pretty with like lots of like decorations and stuff. I find it quite enjoyable to actually stare at, because everything flows. Even if there's heavy traffic, it still flows, and that's what's satisfying to me. Like, I'm not sure what you guys like about the game, but this is what's satisfying to me. So you notice in simulation mode that the traffic lights kind of run themselves. So here I've got a traffic light sequence. Make sure these cars got to go through first, and then after a certain amount of time, which I don't actually remember how much time. Let me see how much time I set it to. So for the first sequence, I've got it at 20 seconds, and then I've got 10 seconds of north-south route, and then basically what I've done is I've stopped this traffic and then continued north-south, but then allowed this to go through. So what else is there? This map is called Loopy 3.0. So I've actually had 2 iterations of this map before. Every single time I've edited this map, I've just added a few more details, like these houses or buildings. So I just kind of make a bit more, a bit less of a jungle, a bit more of like a town. Moving along, so start the right hand side first. So here I've got I've got this hill on fire. Okay, since it's on fire, I may as well show you. So basically what can happen is that if you have blocks, so like this is a block, the house is a block, this is a pillar underneath this railway line, that's also a block. So anything that is blocky can go on fire, and basically you can see a fire truck here will come along, and they will put out the fire. Oh, no, okay, they're not going to put the fire. Okay, alright, maybe there's another fire somewhere. No, okay, I don't know. I don't know where they're going. I thought they were going to put out the fire. Oh, maybe they're coming along. Okay, they're going to, okay, I know what they're going to do. Yeah, so we're going to follow fire trucks. The fire trucks came in through here. And there we go. So I'll follow them along. Okay, right. So they're over here. And they come along here, and they are going to put out the fire from here, apparently, even though they literally passed through here. Why would the game do that? I don't know. Anyway. So, that's kind of a neat mechanic. Like, it's just like little things that can go wrong and just like make it a bit more dynamic. So it's not just purely a traffic simulator. You've got like those scenarios that just randomly pop up. You can actually disable these, but I keep them in the map because I thought it was pretty funny. Anyway, while it's doing this thing, I'll just have a look at the other things. So here I've got the Loopy Station car park here. And I've got quite a few different setups for the car park here as we follow this fire truck along. So I've got like lots of railway intersections, lots of bridges, intersections. You can see like the railway lines, they just loop around and around and around. It's just really crazy. Like if there's space for it to loop around, I've lived around. I guarantee you that. So originally this map, I probably started with like lots of like level crossings and stuff, but like it just got really hectic. So I turned them into lots of bridges. So I kept some of them because I just wanted to have some interaction. I want the trains to have some interaction with the cars and the vehicles, so that way it just makes it more interesting. So that way you can actually set up a challenge. You can actually challenge yourself and make it so that you can try and make sure the traffic flows, and you can like set up scenarios just to make it work, right? So here I made sure that the intersections are blocked so the trains can actually get through, right? So this is one thing you can set up. So you can actually make sure that this intersection right here is not blocked. And that's really important to make a functioning city. Alright. And then just exit over there. A few other features that I would like to look at. So one of the things I really like is like these buildings here. I've made sure that with all these loopiness, I've actually put in holes in the side of these buildings. I don't think I've seen anyone do something crazy like this map, and let alone like have buildings that are designed or contoured around the routes. Like that's really crazy. Like that is I'm not sure who would want to work that building. It'll be really noisy whenever the train goes past, but that's just the way I've got it there. And I've got this building as well. See here, building I've just got literally the columns go around the this viaduct. I'm sure that's called the viaduct. Just this sky little bridge here. And I've got like a pedestrian path running through here. Yeah, so basically everything was kind of built around this network. So essentially I built this network first, and then I kind of squeezed in things in between. So like for example these houses, I kind of squeezed this in. The shape of the house kind of fits into this block. Yeah, so that's why they're all weird shapes. I've also got public transport running across, so if we follow this train here, zoom in and follow. So I've actually got two different tracks, one for the passenger and one for the freight train. So the passenger train, it will drop off passengers at this platform here, and yeah, they can just get around, get off the stations, like a station, concourse area, and then just go wherever they want. And so this train will loop across here, go over the bridge, go around here, under this bridge, and under that bridge, and then I've actually set up a bypass track here, so that in the case there is going to be more trains, a train can actually bypass this station and just continue along. And so I appreciate that I haven't actually made this like a station, like I've spent the pathway and just kind of left it. That's because I got pretty lazy, so I was more interested in having things work. Just wanted to make sure like the traffic flowed, and that was kind of like my main goal. Okay, so going over, and then we're going under again, over again, under again, and here we're going to have a level crossing. So as you can see, these level crossing lights go on. Running through here, you can see one of my old tracks I've left behind here. I just kind of like leaving stuff behind that's kind of, it just shows like the progression of this city or this town. So you can see like, oh, how did I build on things? So originally I had a level crossing over here, but then I've turned it into a bypass bridge, so I didn't completely clog up the traffic here. And then I was just gonna head off. So I've also got buses, so I'm gonna follow this bus over here. So I've got a bus route here that I'm gonna follow. So it just stopped off. Oh, there's a fire extinguisher going off there. Fire hydrant, sorry. Fire hydrant just going off in that corner over there. Not sure if you caught that. Okay, so the bus is running through. So the bus also has to take a one almighty long loopy run, going across the level crossing, underneath the bridge, past this tram track, and out to this next bus stop. And you can see, like, how cute. You've got these little people going into the bus, so it's actually quite realistic. Also, like how I've set up these traffic lanes with all these details, so all these like white markings. That just makes it a little more realistic. So, like, you know, you can have just like these green patches. Like, obviously these green patches here are not the best, but like, yeah, I've tried to make some parts of it realistic, but you know, I just kind of there was too much in this map, so I just kind of left it as it was. And so, oh, I thought that was the boss. So now it's going to drop off passengers here, and it actually has two different ways to go. You can go left turn or right turn. So this, unfortunately, is taking the shorter route on the left. That's okay. You can actually put in giveaway signs here, so that it would have to give way to cars if there was any cars there, but there was no cars there, so that was that. Another thing I added is trams, so we'll have the trams here. Here I've got a tram stop over here. And see, I was just talking about like I have these old stuff. So this was originally a train station, but then I've got freight trains coming through here now. I'll actually fence this off so that passengers don't get off here anymore. Because there are no passenger trains stopping this one. They all have to stop on this one here. I actually added this tram pretty late, so there was no room. Another cool thing on the map is that you can see that it's turning into kind of nighttime. The lights actually light up, so yeah, it just kind of makes it a little bit more dynamic. So this train over here, I'm just going to follow this one. This is a freight train. The freight trains, they don't pick up passengers. And so they just run all the way through from the start to the end. And so, yeah, here it's going to run through this level crossing intersection. This over here used to be a station, but I closed it off because you can see that if I actually would force the train to stop here, that would increase the waiting time of this traffic running through north and south. So I just decided, yeah, that probably wasn't a good idea. So I just closed off the station, moved the station over to here. And now it's actually heading into a tunnel, and so if it wasn't for these blue lines, you probably wouldn't see where it's going. You can see, you can follow this blue line across, so it's going to come out through here, like so, and it disappears off the end of the map. A train will eventually pop up, and, oh, where is it? There we go. So here I've got like a stabling yard, so if I zoom out slightly, so unfortunately it's literally at the corner of the map. I could have expanded enough to make it more visible, but, stupid me, I didn't do that. But here, because the freight trains just run straight from the beginning to the end, I wanted to make it a bit more realistic, so it has to go through like a stabling yard, or like a loading zone, so that's, just to make it more realistic, just to get the trains to slow down a bit, so you can see the trains like slowing down. I also like that the train lengths can be different, so here I've got a short train, here I've got a long train, here I've got an even longer train, and yeah, so that just makes it a bit quite interesting as well. Yeah, you can add lots of decals, so you can add in like all these trees. You know, see I've added a power line, which really just runs through the entire map. It doesn't actually connect to anything here. And you can add in like just like little dirt patches running through here. You can add in like level crossing signs, and you have to have like your typical accident scene like that. That's kind of like that's actually very common with all these maps. You can actually set up like little things just to make it a bit more fun to look at. But I see this so much now that it's like kind of expected that the map should have one. So you also have this, where your tow truck can actually tow a little car, just that it's broken down. So remember I had a broken down car but it repaired itself. This time this car couldn't save itself, so it's gonna need a tow truck to tow it along, and we're gonna follow this tow truck along. And it's just kind of like another neat mechanic of the game, just like random, just to spice up things, just to make it a little bit more random, just so it just makes it more interesting to look at. Alright, following this along, so going under the pedestrian path bridge that I've made. Originally there was lots of pedestrian crossings. I had to turn a lot of them into bridges because, yeah, you can imagine like with all this traffic looping around all over the place, it was going to cause a huge traffic jam. So I just decided to make a lot of bridges, and these bridges are quite looping themselves. So yeah, some of these stairs, for example, they're not the best. Like, yeah, like, what is that? Yeah, I probably wouldn't do that in the future. But like stuff like this, this is not too bad. But yeah, it's kind of going with the theme. So the theme is like it's a loopy place, probably almost borderline lunatic place. Like who wouldn't want to live here? You'd have to be a lunatic to live here. But yeah, so we're just going for that theme. Here's another very one loopy stair. But yeah, you can add little decals. So I'm zooming in quite a lot here, so that's why it's going to get a bit blurry. You see that people aren't actually people; they're literally just shadows. But yeah, you can actually add in these little things. And remember, I was playing this on the phone, so I was literally looking at it like that. And I was like, yeah, that looks good enough. But when you zoom in into this computer, I went, oh, okay, that is actually, whoa, you can actually zoom in quite a lot there. Another thing I want to talk about is how I've made sure that this traffic does not get gridlocked. And so what you can do in this game is you can actually set the traffic flow to 400%. You can also set it down to 0, but you know, that's not interesting. So I'm going to set it to 400% and just see what happens, right? And I'm going to speed this up just to clog up the game, see what happens. Alright, so you can see that I've sped this up and I've using 400% traffic flow here. We have a lot more vehicles running everywhere. And so, with a lot of maps that I see that I enjoy looking at simulations, people make really nice maps, right? Much better than mine. Like mine is like pretty atrocious compared to some other maps. So some maps are really nice. And I'll probably go through a few of those maps just to show you how good they are. But more often than not, they don't manage their traffic very well. So, for example, an intersection like this, they may end up blocking the intersection because there'll be traffic on this side, and just completely blocks up this intersection, and then these cars can't get through. And because these can't get through, then everything else can't get through. And it's just like, you just get one huge mess. And so what I've done here is I made sure that everything where there's a junction, it's always clear. So those trains could run straight through. And then here, I've set these up so these junctions are clear so the cars can always go through. Oh, see, this just annoys me. Sometimes I can accidentally click on things, and this is meant to be a red light, actually. See, while you're moving around the map, you can actually accidentally click on these lights, and that just means like it accidentally turns them green. But if it's in a simulation, it should correct itself because that you have time traffic lights here. So if you look at these, the time traffic lights that allow you to change the sequence automatically, and so it'll correct itself even if you accidentally click on it, as long as everything is connected to a time traffic light. So another thing to add in is pedestrian crossings. So you want to have all these bridges running across so that you don't clog up the entire traffic. If you do have them crossing on the road surface, so for example here, you want to add in traffic lights. So that way, if there is, so this bus is waiting here, if there wasn't a traffic light there, the pedestrians get priority, so they will completely clog up the entire city because they'll just continually walk, especially at 400% traffic flow here. There are so many pedestrians, so if you don't put in a traffic light here, these buses are never going to get out. And therefore these passengers aren't going to get to catch a bus, and it just completely grinds to a halt. One metric I like to look at is this number here, or I should more actually say the ratio. So here I've got 31 vehicles per minute, but I've got 85 pedestrians per minute, give or take. So if this pedestrian number is roughly 2 or 3 times more than the vehicles per minute, then I'd say it's a very pedestrian-friendly city. So you can see I have lots of pedestrians here, and it's just really nice. So if this number is close to 1-to-1 ratio, that means it's actually a very car-centric city. So you won't see as many pedestrians, or the pedestrians are, maybe there's not enough connections. So having these connections, you can see that if I look at the entire map, the pedestrians go all the way around. You can walk all the way around. There is a way for pedestrians to go everywhere. And you want pedestrians, you want to try and set up so that pedestrians actually spawn outside the city, or you can spawn inside a building if you want to. That's also good. So here I've actually got a station kind of building, and actually this is actually a spawn site, but you can't actually see it because I put a building on the top of it. And the same thing for cars. You want to make sure the cars spawn somewhere either on the outside of the map. So here the cars are probably spawning around here at the black edge, or here I've got the cars spawning. Oh, I clicked on that again. Here I've got the cars spawning inside this building, so I'm pretending it's coming out of a car park. Same for here. Trains coming out outside the map. Buses coming out through here. I've also got trams coming out of this shed. You can see I've made it pretty long, but this hole, it actually spawns right here. So this is what happens sometimes when you don't set up the traffic correctly. You end up with this vehicle blocking this tram here, and so this tram can't get out. So normally I would actually clear this intersection, but because this is like the start of the tram site, I don't actually care because I'm not impeding traffic from anywhere else. So I actually did that on purpose, just so I can squeeze in a little more traffic. But you can see I don't have a crossing across the pedestrian path. This pedestrian path is also a railway crossing here, so I don't have a crossing across any of these ones because these are critical. Because I don't want pedestrians to be stuck, and I don't want the train to be stuck as well. And okay, the train's stuck anyway. Oh, okay. Oh, what's going on there? Okay. So I guess I didn't set that up correctly, but I think I may have done that on purpose as well, because I know that this will eventually flow. I made sure I set it up that something has got to flow. And it's especially crucial here, where I've made sure that nothing is blocked. Okay, so I think I've covered everything for today. As I do the outro, there's buildings on fire. Hopefully they will solve that soon. So once again, you can download this game on the Android Google Play Store, or you can download BlueStacks and you can play it on the computer if you wish. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below what you would like to see next. I'm thinking of doing more of these type of videos where I'll be reviewing the city and just kind of showing you what I like, what I dislike about it, and if there's any traffic situations or if there's any traffic gridlock situations, I may try and solve that. So that's it from me today. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye.